it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and I'm back with another review for The Walking Dead. This is for episode 15 that was called Worth. And very interesting that came up after an episode where we heard Rick talking about how his word was still worth something in a world where a lot of things no longer have value, but it kind of went all over the place as far as, I guess, trust is really. I feel like this episode should have been called Trust, because we dealt with a lot of issues of trust and belief in this episode. I guess it could be translated into what things are worth anymore. But interesting episode. I definitely feel like it picked up towards the end. The beginning was kind of so-so, but I think it really picked up towards the end. But really with the whole idea of this kind of, again, coming to a culmination point as far as this battle, as far as making a move. And I don't know, I kind of said this a while back that I feel like things pacing-wise this season have not been ideal. They definitely dragged out a lot of stuff that I'm not sure why, if that was just to get, you know, the full episode count, or because they're not sure what to do in season 9, but you know, the show's well behind the comic at this point, so I'm really surprised that we're going so slowly with this all-out war. And like, you know, like I said, the last like 15 minutes or so of the episode is more what I expected to see like 4 or 5 episodes ago at a minimum. But I guess they're just trying to hype things up again for the finale, where inevitably some stuff's gonna go down. We're probably gonna lose someone or think we lost someone, but it's, yeah, that's the only disappointing part, is I feel like, great, this happened, but why so late? But anyways, there's a few things in this episode I kind of want to get into, so why don't we jump into those? The reading of Carl's letters, the one to Rick was beautiful, very lovely, very touching. I really loved the lines that he gave about how he always felt safe with his father, and one of the things he always treasured about his time with his dad is that he always felt safe and happy and just contented around him. And I think that that's one thing that was always showcased throughout this show, from all the way from season 1 up until, you know, this season, is that there was always a comfort that Carl drew from being with his father that he really didn't have with anybody else, not his mom, not even with Shane. In the end, when it came to that safety, that comfort, that person who could get through to Carl when nobody else could, it was always Rick. They always had that super special relationship. Even when Carl was super upset with or didn't completely understand where his father was coming from, the fact that he would always wear that hat or have that hat with him, that was very much a sentiment to me that showed that Carl has always felt this connection to his father that, you know, always trumped whatever negative emotions or frustrations he ever had with his dad. And it also really speaks so well to Rick being a great father to Carl and always making sure that Carl's safety and happiness and just general well-being was first and foremost in his mind. And I think Carl always knew that. I think Carl knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that his father was willing to do anything for him to keep him, and by extension his sister, safe. And I really love that line in there. He was like, "Oh, Dad, if I could give you that, if I could just reverse our roles for like a day, or, you know, just for a moment, so you could feel that same safety." And that's something that I feel like as children, we sometimes, especially if we really have had great relationships with our parents and have had great, you know, parental figures in our life, you know, one thing you learn as you get older and you start to look, you know, see what your parents, you know, go through as adults, is you recognize that they don't really, the safety that they had, you know, that feeling of being able to sleep and not worry about you and life, that it's long gone. It's been gone since the day you took your first breath. You know what I mean? And you really respect what the love and the devotion it takes for a parent to raise a child, to really kind of give up that peacefulness that you get before you had kids, you know, because, you know, you'll hear parents say all the time, you never stop worrying. So hearing Carl acknowledge that and then flip it around and say, "Dad, if I could, that's the one gift I wish I could give you more than anything, is just that peace that I get to feel as your child." For you to feel that protected by someone, again, that would be great. And so that was just beautiful, well written. My biggest issue, you know, because I gotta have an issue, I guess, is just that I really wish we'd heard more of Carl. Like, he's so eloquent and well-spoken and just everything in these letters, and I feel like we never really heard that from Carl as a person. Like, I think I said this in the episode where he got, you know, where the whole thing went down in Alexandria. And I'm like, this is the most we've heard Carl talk, and since when did he get so eloquent and Like, he never talks like this. And I'm not saying he wasn't capable of it, but we never saw it. And this is a show, right? In a show, you cannot take for granted that your audience will just assume a bunch of things have happened. You can take that to a degree, but you need to show us things more often than not. And I've always said, this is my biggest complaint with Carl's character throughout the ages, was that they never took enough time to really let him build as a character and delve into what he was thinking and feeling and let him to really express himself. We had one or two, I think in the whole history of the show, we've had, what, 2 episodes where Carl was kind of off, like the one with the pudding, and then we had that one with him and Enid kind of running off together. Pretty much that's the only time we really saw Carl get a chance to express himself in some way, shape, or form, and even then he didn't really talk. And that's such a shame, because it's not like Chandler Riggs can't emote. It's not like he can't read a script and is not very eloquent. So I just feel like it was such a lost opportunity with that character, and that they really should have explored it more, because it just feels like, wow, look at all this sage amazingness that Carl had that we would never have a clue of if he hadn't died, which is really sad. Right beside, it was a beautiful moment to see, and I'm glad that Rick can finally, you know, he's had that moment now to kind of be a little broken and cry a little bit and do all the things that the sadder side of the grief part. You know, he's done a lot of the anger part, and now he's got the grief part. And hopefully he can get to a point now where he's going to be a little bit more balanced in the way he's going to handle things going forward. Because even though Carl is gone, I think hearing those final words and those final requests are definitely going to weigh on Rick's conscience as far as honoring his son going forward. So I'm glad that that happened. It was really cute. The shots with him looking at Roshon and Judith, just mommy and daughtering together and looking so ridiculously adorable, and you know, everything about that shot with the beautiful, like the warmth of the sun. It was bright. It was very light, and him looking down, like, you know, reading this letter that's clearly bringing him a lot of pain, but seeing that juxtaposed to the 2 people in his life that are still there, his remaining family, the people who love him and need him, you know, that still need him, I think was just a wonderful contrast to, like, okay, this letter needs to be dealt with, but it's the past now, and this is what I need to keep working towards with these my two ladies, you know, and making sure that they're safe and happy. So I really like that. That was beautiful and just super cute to see the 2 of them together. And Jerry with the baby out of nowhere. What was that cuteness for? I mean, thank you, show, but so adorable. I love Jerry. On to Daryl and Rosita. You know, I ranted a few episodes ago about the fact that, you know, I'm really kind of over how Daryl hasn't had a lot to do this season in particular. And with Rosita, I mean, I give her a pass as far as her character in the sense of I know that the actress had a baby just before the season filmed, so the writers and the show were trying to be accommodating to her to be able to spend time with her new baby, you know, and not necessarily have her thrown into working full time. But I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like these 2 have just been kind of meandering this whole season. And it's so sad because both of these actors are talented and both of them have a lot of potential and character development or growth or something we could be doing with them. But I just feel like on this, with them running off and finding Eugene, like, they were in the perfect spot to just snipe the man. Like, he was right there, unaware. No one knew that they knew where they were. Like, I know it sounds cold, but let's be real. Rosita already knew that Eugene was not going to go back to them. She knows that Dwight has full-on turned on Rick and his group. He does not care about anybody but himself. And that is the way it's been for a long time. Like, there was no reason to let him keep living. Like, and I know they're like, oh, he needed to make bullets. Really? You really think that's what's gonna happen at this point? The factory with all the stuff that was required to make said bullets was still run by the Saviors. Unless they plan on killing everybody there and trying to beat everybody out of there, it wasn't gonna happen. It was a terribly, terrible, ill-conceived plan. And it bothers me. Like, I mean, if their whole mission had been to go and see whether or not they were indeed making more bullets and then report back and be like, hey guys, we have a problem because Negan and his people are gonna have ammo soon, great. Or if they'd gone, like Rosita said, and said, take out the bullet maker, that would have helped as well. They already know that Eugene is far more problematic outside of his bullet recipe. Why not just kill him? And then fine, you don't do that. You're like, fine, we'll take him back and we'll force him to work for us instead. You know what you don't do, Rosita? You don't tell the man your plan. You don't tell him that you plan to take him back and torture him and make him feel like crap when he's leaving a place where they're treating him like a king. Like, it's just so, I And I mean, granted, I know Rosita was probably thinking, oh, Eugene's just a coward. What's he gonna do? I just have to wave my gun and he'll pee his pants. But they should never underestimate. I mean, I just feel like so many people keep forgetting that Eugene, his weaselly, snaky, disgusting self aside, the man has lived this long because he is really good at snaking out of situations that are entirely too dangerous. That's literally his superpower. He is still breathing right now because he's figured out ways to weasel himself out of dangerous situations. The best thing that Rosita could have done was lie to him. Lie to him. You know, like just butter him up, lie to him, make him think that he actually has a prayer, at least to get him there. And then you could have done what you were going to do to him when he had no choice. But telling the man that you're planning on taking him there and essentially torturing him for the rest of his days, you really thought he wasn't going to try some stuff? Like, it's just so insulting to me, to the characters, that they're making them seem this dumb. And especially Rosita. I thought she was turning a corner, and yet this episode I was just like, really, girl? Really? It was just frustrating once again. And again, it's not anything to the characters. I like Rosita as a character. I like Daryl as a character. I love the actors. It's just the writing for them has been so frustrating this season. Same with Tara. Like, I understand this is a big cast, really hard to write for everybody and give everybody the growth and just, you know, and the development that they deserve, but like, you don't have to make them dumb. I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna say a lot of things that are just not becoming of a lady. On to Aaron. I mean, all right, I will give him a pass because he is still grieving. The death of Eric was like in Showtime only maybe like a few days earlier, right? Maybe a week ago. It's still fresh. He's still hurting. You know, I think he's just avoiding going back to familiar surroundings, right? He doesn't want to go back to anything that reminds him of somebody that he lost. That makes perfect sense. But like just seeing him out there dehydrating and getting himself like really? You're just going to wait till you're so weak you're going to be walker food? How's that going to, like, it's not going to help your cause. And I don't know. It just didn't land for me. I think the way that maybe, I don't know what the intent was, but it didn't really land for me. I just felt like that was very uncharacteristic for Aaron. Anyways, hopefully this means Oceanside's going to get involved and that'll be that. On to Negan's long game. Yeah, this was really tense. More so with the Dwight stuff. I mean, everyone had already guessed that it must have been Laura who Negan picked up in the past episode, but I was really hoping it wasn't. But clearly I realized when Negan, the whole double talk, which, I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you gotta give your hats off to this guy. He did such a good job with those whole double talk scenes, particularly with Dwight. Like with Simon, we already knew his goose was cooked, right? We knew that from the second that Jadis told Negan what happened. We knew that when he got back, Simon was a goner. But Dwight, we weren't sure about, and it was just so tense and so awkward when you just know, like, and like I said, JDM is so good with those creepy smiles and those knowing little, you never know, because he'll do that when he's being genuine versus when he's not. So he's very, very good at keeping you off balance about whether or not he's on to you. And you could tell the whole time that Dwight wasn't sure, because he's been around Negan enough to know that, okay, he might know, he may not know. I don't know how much he knows. And he knows he can't say or do anything because it will tip him off if he wasn't suspicious. And it's just a horrible place to be in. Poor Dwight. I mean, who thought the day would come that I actually felt bad for this kid? And then as soon as I saw that he sent Greg away with that message, I was like, oh my God, this is a trap. This is a trap. Negan knew, and this is a trap. That is so Negan, you know, to want Dwight to live. I mean, obviously burning his face, sleeping with his wife. Negan's the kind of guy that likes to watch people suffer. He had the nerve to be sitting there talking to Simon about how he's such a sicko for killing all the people at Oceanside, which I totally guessed, if you remember. But like, dude, you get off on watching people suffer. So I don't know why you're sitting there as, you know, pot calling the kettle black here. I mean, maybe that's why he knew he had to watch Simon, because he knew that Simon was so much like him. But anyway, poor Dwight. It's gonna suck for him, but the nice thing is that he's not dead. Like, I'm just glad Negan didn't put another iron to his face or kill him. And I think part of that, even though it is part of his sadistic nature, I also think that he realizes he's lost too many people and he had to kill Simon. So that's still more folks who are able-bodied that he cannot risk losing at this point. At some point, yeah, good riddance, Simon. I mean, in fairness, even though I could not stand Simon the character, the actor Simon is amazing, and he did a great job, and so it's gonna be rough. He's been on the show for 3 seasons? 3 seasons we've seen him. So it's going to be quite different to see the show without him now. But thanks for your work. You made us love to hate you, Simon. It was pretty awesome seeing you on this show, but I will not miss you as a character. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm glad you're gone. I hope to hear your long ass speeches just to hear yourself talk. Bye. You and Jared both. Bye. Not gonna miss you. Saviors that should have been killed a long time ago. That was pretty much the major things that happened in this episode. There really wasn't too much more, but like I said, just, oh, I guess Negan and Carl's letter. I mean, I love that Michonne did that. And you know, she clearly did not tell Rick that she went to go do that, because I know Rick would have been like, I think it's something, I'm glad she did it, because it wasn't for Negan, it was for Carl. And, you know, the fact that Negan listened, I mean, I'm not surprised at his response, but it says a lot that he listened to he listened to her say everything. He wanted to hear it, and you could see he was clearly affected by Carl's words, and that Carl read him like a book. You know, Negan thinks he's some big enigma, but that's the thing with Carl, saw right through. That was the great thing about their relationship, as brief as it was that Negan and Carl both saw through each other's BS, like, immediately. And that's why I think Negan liked him so much. But anyway, that was the episode. Like I said, I think it was okay. The first half was kind of meh for me, but I did like the ending. I did like how it picked up with, you know, justice being served for Simon, and also just kind of figuring out where things are going to go, like this ramp up again towards the war. What did you guys think of this episode? How do you feel about the justice served to Simon, and how do you feel about Dwight? Are you feeling a little sorry for him, or do you think that maybe he's getting his just desserts too, because he should have just stuck to one side? Please leave your comments below. You know I love reading them and getting involved in this conversation with you. And if you like this video, guys, please click like, and if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time.